Water. Water is a basic necessity for all living organisms. The water cycle ensures that water and its nutrients are distributed across ecosystems, where they are received and consumed by the organisms living in them. Without water, the nutrients and the minerals it carries, the deaths will be immeasurable. However, nutrients are not the only things that water carries. Due to human activities, the water that circulates the earth becomes degraded and polluted, negatively affecting marine life across the globe and the epigenetics behind them. Invasive species, by definition, are non-native organisms that are intentionally or unintentionally brought into an ecosystem by human activities that disrupt the natural balance of the ecosystem. The question is, are we, human beings, invasive?
Now let's talk about water cycle. The water cycle is the path that water follows as it moves around Earth in different states. Liquid water is found in oceans, rivers, lakes, underground, and rain. Solid ice is found in glaciers and snow. Water vapor, most visibly in the form of clouds, is found in Earth's atmosphere. We should know that the water cycle is an extremely important process because it enables the availability of water for all living organisms and regulates weather patterns on our planet. If water didn't naturally recycle itself, we would run out of clean water, which is essential to all life on Earth.
The cycle begins with the process of evaporation, where water from the Earth's surface, such as oceans, lakes, rivers, and soil, transforms into water vapor due to the heat from the sun and rises into the atmosphere. As the water vapor rises higher into the atmosphere, it cools down and condenses into tiny water droplets or ice crystals, forming clouds. When the clouds become saturated with water droplets or ice crystals, precipitation occurs in the form of rain, snow, or hail and falls back to the Earth's surface. Once precipitation reaches the Earth's surface, it can follow different paths. Some of it may infiltrate into the soil, becoming groundwater after reaching underground aquifers, or be taken up by plant roots. The precipitation may flow over the surface as runoff, traveling across the land and eventually reaching rivers, lakes, and oceans. Transpiration is the process by which plants release water vapor into the atmosphere through tiny pores called stomata on their leaves. This water vapor then joins the rest of the water vapor in the atmosphere. Sublimation is the process where water changes directly from solid in the form of ice and snow to water vapor without going through the liquid phase. This mainly occurs in areas with freezing temperatures and strong sunlight. Melting is the process by which solid ice changes into liquid water when temperatures rise above freezing.
The water cycle also transports essential nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus from land to aquatic systems. Water can dissolve and carry calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium, and sulfate from rocks and soils, and they are essential for plant growth and various biological processes like photosynthesis and nucleic acid synthesis. These nutrients are vital for the growth of aquatic plants and algae, which form the base of the aquatic food chain. As these primary producers thrive, they support the entire aquatic food web, including fishes, insects, and other aquatic animals. Unfortunately, the water cycle can also transport pollutants like heavy metals, pesticides, and industrial chemicals. And these pollutants can enter water bodies through various human activities and impact water quality and aquatic ecosystems.
Our water resource face a host of serious threats, most of which are caused primarily by human activity. And human activity has significantly impacted the water cycle, resulting in widespread pollution and ecological imbalances. The rapid expansion of agriculture, driven by the need to meet the growing food demands, has resulted in excessive use of fertilizer and pesticides. These chemicals often find their way into bodies of water through runoff, contaminating rivers, lakes, and seas with harmful pollutants that are detrimental to aquatic life. Urban areas generate vast amounts of wastewater and sewage, which, when not adequately treated, are released into waterways, introducing pathogens and harmful substances. Industrial activities release various toxic chemicals and metals into the environment, further compromising the water quality and posing significant risk to the health of aquatic organisms. Through the water cycle, pollutants including heavy metals, chemicals, and pesticides enter aquatic habitats and endanger the well-being of aquatic life. Moreover, inappropriate waste management practices such as improper disposal of plastics and other non-biodegradable material contribute to the growing problem of the marine debris. These materials persist in the environment for extended periods of time, causing harm to the marine life through ingestion, entanglement, and habitat degradation.
A growing menace threatens the fragile aquatic ecosystems in the Philippines' waterways. Invasive organisms from faraway regions have penetrated the pure rivers, upsetting the natural balance. The creeping presence of poisonous lionfish, thought to be transported from the ballasts of ships or released from aquariums, disturbs once thriving coral reefs. Water hyacinths transported from other bodies of water due to the rising water levels move their truncal rivers, upsetting the natural equilibrium. The resulting of ecological imbalance is evident in the decreasing numbers of native species and the disruption of natural processes that have shaped these aquatic habitats long before the introduction of the invasive species.
Epigenetics is the study of how environmental factors can influence the expression of genes without changing the DNA sequence. Aquatic life, such as fish, mollusks, and corals, are exposed to various human activities that can affect their epigenetics, such as pollution, overfishing, climate change, and aquaculture.
One of the most common human activities that can alter the epigenetics of aquatic life is pollution from various sources, such as industrial waste, agricultural runoff, sewage, oil spills, and plastic debris. It can introduce toxic chemicals, heavy metals, hormones, and microplastic into the aquatic environment, which can interfere with the normal functioning of genes and epigenetic mechanisms. For example, some pollutants can act as endocrine disruptors, which can affect hormones level and sex determination of fish and other aquatic animals. And other pollutants can also cause DNA methylation, which is a process that adds or removes methyl groups to DNA and regulates gene expressions. DNA methylation can affect the development, growth, reproduction, and behavior of aquatic life.
Another human activity that can influence the epigenetics of marine life is overfishing, the practice of catching more than fish than the population can sustainably replenish. It can reduce the genetic diversity and adaptive potential of fish populations, which can make them more vulnerable to environmental changes and diseases. Overfishing can also affect the epigenetics of fish by altering their life history traits, such as age at size at maturity, fecundity, and growth rate.
So are humans invasive? Our actions have severely damaged aquatic ecosystems and the wildlife within them. Water pollution caused by the growth of agriculture and increased industrial activities have caused harmful chemicals to run off into and contaminate bodies of water. The improper disposal of plastics and other non-biodegradable materials has harmed marine life through ingestion, entanglement, and habitat degradation. Our actions have resulted in the introduction of invasive species that disrupt the natural balance of ecosystems. Our actions have hindered the reproduction, growth, development, and behavior of aquatic life. We must up our efforts to reduce the frequency and severity of these harmful practices to preserve and protect the biodiversity and the health of ecosystems worldwide and prove that humans, as an invasive species, can nurture and restore the environment and not just cause harm.